Note: the United States government, if you're watching this, please don't put me on a watch list. This video is not meant to be taken seriously. FBI, open up!
George Washington kills Jimmy Carter for his supplies. Ronald Reagan sets an explosive off, killing John F. Kennedy, George H. W. Bush, Barack Obama and Joe Biden. Abraham Lincoln bashes Bill Clinton's head in with a mace. Teddy Roosevelt, George W. Bush, and Andrew Jackson work together to get as many supplies as possible. George W. Bush receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Abraham Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt, and Andrew Jackson start fighting, but Teddy Roosevelt runs away as Abraham Lincoln kills Andrew Jackson. Ronald Reagan tries to spear fish with a trident. George Washington receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. George W. Bush lets Teddy Roosevelt into his shelter. Ronald Reagan thinks about winning. Abraham Lincoln and George Washington hold hands. Ronald Reagan shoots an arrow into Abraham Lincoln's head. Teddy Roosevelt tries to spear fish with a trident. George Washington cannot handle the circumstances and commits suicide. George W. Bush tries to sleep through the entire day. Ronald Reagan loses sight of where he is. Teddy Roosevelt sees a fire, but stays hidden. George W. Bush climbs a tree to rest. George W. Bush receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Ronald Reagan steals from Teddy Roosevelt while he isn't looking. Teddy Roosevelt loses sight of where he is. George W. Bush and Ronald Reagan talk about the tributes still alive. Ronald Reagan stuffs a bundle of dry clothing into a backpack before sprinting away. Teddy Roosevelt shoots a poisonous blow dart into George W. Bush's neck, slowly killing him. Ronald Reagan tends to Teddy Roosevelt's wounds. Ronald Reagan loses sight of where he is. Teddy Roosevelt loses sight of where he is. Teddy Roosevelt collects fruit from a tree. Ronald Reagan discovers a cave. Teddy Roosevelt overpowers Ronald Reagan, killing him. The winner is Teddy Roosevelt.